Welcome back. Hey, there's one more thing I realized I wanted to do before we actually start working on the UI. And that's, I'd like to use a domain name that's under my control. So at the moment, the domain name that we use when we make our call, it's been assigned to us. And we'd like to actually specify what the domain name should be. So let's set that up. The way we do that is we use a plugin for Serverless called the Serverless Domain Manager. It's pretty sweet actually. Let's give it a shot. We're going to go over here and we're going to just do a Google on that. Serverless Domain Manager. It's an NPM package. Scrolling through this, we want to go through the install instructions. By the way, if you're running, I'm assuming that you're running in your own local AWS account, in which case you'll have full access to everything. But if instead you're running an account that has restrictions, then you'll need to make sure that you have all of these rights and privileges in order for the serverless deploy stuff to work. So in order for the domain management stuff to work. But in our case, not an issue. Let's install it. So first we want to install this library. So we're going to go back to our project, Visual Studio, and we're going to add that library. Okay, nice. Now let's look at the instructions again and go to the next step. Let's add the plugin. So back to Visual Studio. So I like to put this near the top. We're just stating that this particular serverless instance, we also have this serverless plugin. That's, yeah, simple as that. Okay, and finally in the custom section we're going to add a custom domain. Let's grab this as an example and then we'll modify it to suit our needs. Going back to code, here's the custom section. Let's add that custom domain. Unfortunately, I do not own the rights to foo.com. I'm sure it's very popular. But I do have a certificate for robdev.ca. So that's our certificate that we're going to use. Also, what's the domain name that I want to set up here? I think I'm going to call it portfolio15a-domain. That works for me. Stage, continuous integration, nah, this is the dev stage. Base path, actually we're going to leave this blank. Oh, excuse me, we're going to leave that blank. This affects, you can actually have multiple of these and yeah, you can have them pointing to different places. We just want one. So that works for me. Certificate name, everything looks right to me. Latest TLS, API type REST, all looks good. So let's go back here. What else do we need to do? Actually, that's about it. So now, we're going to actually create the domain. So here's how we do that. Just like it says, we're going to run a command called serverless create domain. Let's go back to our project. So we're going to run this command down here. Great. And it uses this information and it goes into AWS and it starts updating our domain for us. Now the actual command actually returns pretty quickly, but because this needs to basically spread across multiple DNS endpoints, it can take up to 40 minutes to be initialized. And we do want it to be initialized before we actually do the next step, which is serverless deploy. So I'm going to let this wait for 40 minutes, maybe 30, 30 or 40. I should wait 40, and then we'll come back and do the next step. So I'm just going to pause this, and I'll see you real soon.